we're going to move in temporarily to the AI, Web3, and Tech for Good track. And we got to hear yesterday from Florian Fournier from Threefold and Our World on citizen-owned infrastructure and the financial innovation track. And he's going to talk today about augmented collective intelligence. So let's welcome him up. Welcome, Florian.
I want to share here a bit about, and actually it connects directly with the work that is being done there in with Africa, Mini Alamo. It's about how we create the conditions for healthy technology for this world. How do we create the condition where we can connect with this idea of augmented collective intelligence using AI and using technology, but in a very safe and a very hub-driven way. We talked a bit yesterday about the internet. The internet, the way we know today, is absolutely broken. It's all centralized gigantic data centers where our digital lives and our digital selves are literally hostage. They are all concentrated mostly in rich countries, and we don't even know where our digital life is being hosted, because this entire IT system has been constructed over something that is company-centric. Your data are being owned by Google, by Facebook. They are being owned by all the different companies that provide you a service in exchange for your data. And if we want to actually create a different system, if we want to have a safe and purpose-driven IT system, we need to start by owning our digital lives. We need to own our identity. We need to own our data. And we need to be aware of what the resources that we're using for actually hosting all our digital life. That's the first step. And what has been very interesting is to understand that if we want to build that new form of technology, and if we want to bring AI into the way we interact every day, what is happening today is actually a race for velocity, a race for speed. If you think about it, like you have this AI race where everyone is trying to get to artificial general intelligence as fast as we can. And of course, like the rich countries and the rich companies are the one getting all those chips. They are the one getting all this information and all the capacity of compute to get to that level. And countries in Africa, or countries in the global south, they just don't even have a chance to be part of that race. And the only alternative to it is actually sovereignty, is to make sure that all your citizens, as a community or as a country, host 100% of their digital life, because the right form of artificial intelligence would be one that will know you perfectly, that will know who you are, that will know your journaling, that will know your agenda, that will know what you've been doing the last days, with who you've been interacting. But this cannot happen if our digital lives are being hosted by companies, are being hosted by all of these different applications where we store data. And for that sovereign form of AI to happen, we need to make a choice. We need to make the choice to accept that we can actually turn the entire IT system upside down. We can create a world that is agent-centric, where I can be the center of my digital life and have everything evolving around me, instead of me being always around companies that host my information. And someone told me something actually recently that touched me a lot. He said that our thoughts are electric, but our emotions are magnetic. And in a certain way, it's something that actually touched me a lot, because I thought about why are we going so much into the IQ? Like if you just go into like having this information like always available and always being provided, but it's all about speed, it's all about IQ, but we're way more than that. we are balanced between our intellectual capacity, but also our emotion, our EQ. And this is actually in that balance that we can find new forms of interaction between ourselves. And I think that if we go to that system, this vision of augmented collective intelligence, we need to make that choice. And today we don't even have a choice. Today we evolve every day in a system where we don't have a choice. And for that choice to happen, we need to be aware that there will be a moment that we will have to take strong decisions that not always will be convenient for us. And that's where we really need to come together and make it up. And I want to close here with something that actually I thought that I heard once with a friend that I thought was very deep. That in this world, we created, in a certain way, that brain was a divine gift from the God, and it was made to be a secretary. And at some point, we made a CEO that was not necessarily supposed to be. And the heart is electromagnetically 10,000 times more powerful than the brain. And as we manifest, things come and end up happening. And the reason why we live in chaos is probably because we elected a CEO that was not supposed to be. Thank you.
So yesterday we got to hear about what Threefold and Our World are doing on kind of establishing almost the physical infrastructure required for collective engagement, and the context being, for those not familiar, that Africa and other places around the world have really been like held back, to say at least, in terms of their ability to develop their own infrastructure and all that. And so talking first yesterday about kind of the structure that's necessary for collective engagement, collective intelligence, augmented collective intelligence. And today you're bringing in, and this beautifully kind of tethers into Forrest's work of that we need to be able, the foundation of us moving forward is actually our ability to commune and to come together and to engage each other. And so one thing I'm a fan of everything you guys are doing since I first learned about it, but one thing I've wanted you and Christophe from Threefold and Our World to meet Forrest for so long, because Forrest has done such deep thinking on this, and you guys have done the actual physical infrastructure development, both on the technological, physical component, but also the almost the techno-social side of it as well. And it's not, part of the point of this event is not to be like, this is the solution, this any one thing, and yet to highlight some of the most exciting kind of pieces or efforts in various areas. And so at what stage are things now? Where do you want them to be going in the next 2 to 5 years? And what can we do to help? What do you need?
Right. No, thank you for this. Well, first of all, yesterday we talked more about that, but it's been the result of years and years of work to build a plumbing layer. We joke about that between ourselves, that we're kind of like the deep tech or the plumbers of the internet. So the real work was to build that infrastructure layer that now is ready, is scalable, is safe. We have our own networking system for that. And so now we're at the stage where it's time actually to build the applications on top. It's time to build the systems on top, all the different participants who can have the right ideas and the right way of how to bring that together. And that's why the work of Ahmed is so important, on how to create wisdom AI and bring it onto Threefold. The work of Holochain on mutual currency and mutual credit system is extremely important. So now we're at the time finally where we can build. We're at the time where we need to think, okay, we've got that infrastructure ready. We've got an entire country with Tanzania ready to deploy that scale with 60 million people. We have that in 52 countries with an open source movement. but now it's time to build. Now it's time to build those tools. It's time to build this application layer that can create that cultural shift. Because in the end, the only thing we'll be able to do is to give people a choice. If you decide that you don't want to have that choice, or you don't want to take that decision of like making that step forward, it won't change. So we did the plumbing, we did the tools. Now it's time to build the application layer and to build the cultural movement, because in the end, it has to come from the inside out.
For just a little extra context for those who weren't here yet, yesterday, Threefold was talking to the Tanzanian government, the president, and said, "You don't have the internet." She's like, "What do you mean?" Here's Facebook. If one of the cables, so the internet is served to Africa through underground cables owned by a few large companies. If one of those cables gets cut or shut down, then the continent is done. And that's happened. Like that happened. It doesn't happen. Yeah, while I was there, and so the national security people came in to realize this was a real thing, and that's it. The banking system works very similarly. We talked about this yesterday, but so it would, before we could talk about new applications to help people in Africa who can use Web3 for, none of that exists unless there's internet. And so they one thing that for me has some gravitas, Threefold's had 10 years and $50 million put into what it's built so far, so that they could give Africa and other places the actual plumbing, I think that's the exact right word, to facilitate them having their own internet, let alone we get into citizen-owned models that they've innovated on as well. But now you're talking about the software, and I think the combination, if you have people, you have the perfect software, so to speak, perfect mutual credit systems. We have people there who are just trying to extract. You have the wrong community culture, where it's still a recipe for disaster. This is where Forrest highlighting of culture and community first, and that's where I'm very apprehensive to highlight global unity as the key. It's not that. There are tons of incredible communities, but that must be, I suggest, the third component. But that doesn't go anywhere unless we have plumbing, unless we have the tools of engagement. So for me, I hope we got a glimpse of why I see Threefold's and our worlds work as so coordinated. Thank you for being here and the work we do. Thank you. Thank you very much.